Hi, I'm Julie Heverly, the Executive Director for the American Diabetes Association in Western Pennsylvania and Eastern Ohio, and this is my why. I was diagnosed when I was at Washington and Jefferson College. I wasn't familiar with type 1 diabetes at all. I spent the first 4 years that I was living with the disease not knowing anyone else who had type 1 diabetes, and that was really hard and very isolating. My first A1C after I got on my pump, I was in the sixes for the first time in those 4 years, and I just thought it was such a godsend. And it wasn't easy by any means, and it didn't solve all my problems, but it made such a dramatic difference. That's when I knew I had to be part of doing something bigger than just sitting back and dealing with this disease. I had to be part of making it better. Oh, do I have lingering fears? Yes. I think that everybody who has diabetes is constantly dealing in some way with this underlying concern that you could go low. I could go low at any minute. I have a CGM that will tell me if I'm trending that way, but I can eat the same thing 3 days in a row and have 3 different outcomes from that. That does leave you with this feeling of unease. Complications terrify. I worked for 10 years to be able to have my daughter. Well, now I have to work for 50 years so I can walk her down the aisle and make sure that I get to meet my grandchild someday. So the idea of complications is always present so that I can be proactive and be in front of it so that we don't go down that road. There's so many things that people just don't understand about diabetes, but I think one of the biggest things is how invisible diabetes is. You can't look at somebody with diabetes and see that they're an organ failure. That's essentially what life is for type 1, an organ not working anymore. We want to be thriving, we want to be living these amazing lives, but the general population doesn't see even half of what goes into that balance. And even those people who know and love somebody with type 1 diabetes, they don't fully understand how every minute and every decision diabetes plays a part in. Unless you are another person living with it, you can't even begin to comprehend. And I say that with love because those type 3s out there who are living and loving somebody who has diabetes, they are trying so hard, but until you're in it minute for minute, it's just impossible to really understand that. When I lost my father to complications of type 2 diabetes, he suffered a fatal stroke, and it was heartbreaking. That's one of the main reasons that I am so connected to the ADA's mission, because we serve everybody who's living with diabetes, type 1 and type 2, and gestational and pre-diabetes. And I wish that my dad had been more proactive about educating himself and being part of this community, because I think that when people are proactive and they are connected, their whole outlook changes and their outcomes change. And I think that that's one of the most important things about the work that we do and why we try to connect people.